Hello, hello, good people. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Shauna Vaughn. Hello and welcome. I thank you all for subscribing. I thank you all for being here. I thank you for your comments, whether I agree with them or not. I thank you for commenting. I thank you for participating and being here. Thank you. So, first of all, I want to start off with all my California folks. Please, I voted early. Go vote. Vote yes on Prop 50 and vote early. Vote now. This administration's already talking about doing some bullshit. Y'all know that. Y'all knew that was going to happen. Y'all knew it was going to happen. I felt it in my bones last week. So I posted it on Tuesday, and here we are. Here we are, and they're talking about sending some poll monitors or some bullshit. Here's the thing about that. They are just trying to get us accommodated to having these folks around. And there's also a plan that they're trying to keep close to the vest, but it's leaking out that they are trying to move military folks in and around polling locations, and all that's supposed to be done and settled and set up by April of next year. So do not be surprised when you see these people showing up, because again, they're trying to normalize all this stuff. They want to see, they test the waters to see if they're going to receive any pushback. And if we don't push back, they're going to keep pushing forward. All right, so let's jump into the weekend update. This week, we learned a new term from the administration: athletically allergic. So apparently they have found that some of the icy folks are athletically allergic, and they are kicking them out. Yeah. Also, what was information was released or found this week is that not all of these icy folks, surprise, 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 have been fully vetted. That will come to as no surprise to anyone. They have not been fully vetted. Some have had criminal backgrounds. Some have failed drug tests. Some have failed to meet physical or academic standards. I guess that applies to the athletically allergic folks. Some did not submit fingerprints or background checks, but they were still hired, employed by this administration, the icy folks, Homeland Security. They received those bonuses, and they're out there on the streets kidnapping folks. And also, how can you do background checks and vetting and all this information that would normally take place for a government job if your intention was to hire Proud Boys, racists, three percenters, etc.? You can't do a proper background check. You know they got some shit. You automatically know. So that was something that was in the news this week. The second thing I want to discuss is this war on Venezuela. So this administration has been carrying out these airstrikes on boats in the Caribbean, near Venezuela, and with no explanation, no proof of any drugs, no proof that anybody that was killed on these boats were drug traffickers or drug lords or part of a drug cartel. No information provided to the public, no information or permission asked from Congress to carry out these acts. And now they're trying to move us closer and closer to a war with Venezuela. Mind you, folks, most of the drugs that are imported into the US do not come from Venezuela. They do not. China, I'm looking at you. If it's coming from outside of the US, I'm looking at you. So yeah, and then you have the felon. I want to read you exactly what he said, because I don't want to mess up his words. I want you to hear exactly what he said when asked about this. So he said, I don't think we're necessarily going to ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. We're going to kill them. they're going to be like dead. This was his response to asking, to a reporter asking the question about, you need to go to Congress to get approval to go to war. Are you going to do that? You think you might want to do that? His response was, I'm going to give you just the last lines. We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. And then he went on to say that every airstrike or attack on these boats saves about 25,000 American lives. And again, most of the drugs that are imported in the US do not come from Venezuela. So that's a lie. It's a lie. My opinion on this is, again, for them to be able to declare martial law, we have to either be involved in a war, or there has to be some huge conflict or outbreak of violence here in America for them to be able to declare martial law. I believe that's what they're trying to do in this situation. Also, this brings me to the next thing. The East Wing being another thing he didn't get permission for. The East Wing of the White House being completely destroyed this week. When he introduced this conversation about the ballroom, he assured Americans that it would not change the structure of the White House at all. So the understanding most Americans had, was that we're talking about a separate building added to the whole White House grounds. No. He got rid of, completely demolished, took a wrecking ball to, just like he is America, to the East Wing of the White House, and now it is completely gone. The East Wing of the White House used to be where the First Lady's office was and where she would conduct her business. But because Melania doesn't spend any time there, I guess he assumed that there was no need for the East Wing, like ever again. Because for some reason, he believes that he's going to be there forever and that this is his home. And it is not. It is the people's house. It belongs to us. We pay for everything that happens in the White House. The lights, the water, electric, gas, fireplaces burn. We pay for everything. It is our house. It belongs to the people. So my first question was, can we the people sue? Because not only did he not ask our permission, he didn't go through any of the proper protocols to make any type of adjustments or changes to the structure of it's a monument. The White House is a monument. It's a historic structure. And I'll tell you this, when I was in real estate in Houston, if there are any Houstonians that are listening, there are a lot of historic properties in the Museum District, in that Southampton area, in the West U area, right around Rice University, for those of you that don't live in Houston, but you know where Rice University is. River Oaks, there are a lot of historic buildings and homes and structures. And there was a lot of red tape if somebody was trying to sell or buy one of those properties. And the number one thing is you could not damage or change the structure. You could like renovate a kitchen, but you couldn't change the structure of that building. So I wouldn't show them. I wouldn't show them. I'm like, no, we're not touching that because that property can't be touched because it's going to take us months to close it. And here you have this nut in DC just taking a wrecking ball to a whole side of a building, a historic structure. So I believe that we people should be able to sue. There's already been a family that did file a lawsuit. I believe their last name is Vahuris out of Virginia. So they filed a lawsuit. Now, my first question was, how do we all sign on? How can we all be a part of this? Because we, the people, own the White House. We, the people, are invested in this because our tax dollars go to take care of everything for the White House. Our tax dollars are well, he says that he's receiving donations, and I'm gonna get to that in just a second. But so can we sue is the question. Can we have a class action lawsuit? Because that is the people's house. That is our house. And before anything should have been touched, any brick removed, any panel, side panel, any sheetrock demolished, any of that, it should have came before the people. And then there's a whole host of organizations and committees that are in place to preserve historic structures. So there are protocols that you have to go through to do anything to them. None of that. He's just doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. So the ballroom now is up to $350 million. Every time he talks about it, he adds another 50 million to it. So now it's up to $350 million, according to him. And then he also says that, there are donations. People are donating, and that's how he's going to pay for this ballroom. So let me give you some of the companies, because these companies are the companies that we need to boycott. Yes, there are individuals, but there are also companies on this list. Amazon, Apple, Caterpillar, Comcast, Union Pacific Railroad, Hard Rock Cafe, Meta, Google, HP, Microsoft, Palantir, you knew they were going to be on there, T-Mobile, and then there's a lot of other individuals that are on here as well. So yeah, start boycotting them, because they have $350 million to cough up for a ballroom that they're making off of us. They're making off of us. Also, while I'm at it, I would like to throw in Spotify and Home Depot. Spotify is currently running ads for ICE, recruitment ads for ICE. So dump your Spotify, get rid of them. And then Home Depot has set up new surveillance systems in their parking lots that run everybody's plates who come into the parking lot, and sends that information or shares that information with HHS. And that's how they're going after people in these Home Depot parking lots. So add them to the list as well. Moving right along. On top of destroying the historic structure of the White House, he is now, Felon 47, said that he wants the DOJ to pay him $230 million. 230 million tax dollars. And he even jokingly said, now this is interesting, because I literally am having to decide to pay myself $230 million, because now he's back in office. But the $230 million he's asking for is for, I'm assuming, his pain and suffering while he was being investigated for the cases that were built against him after his first time in office, but specifically the case with the missing documents that he just had sitting in a bathroom in Mar-a-Lago and all over the place for anybody to access. He is basically, there's documents that you can file to petition for this money to be released by the government. If you feel like you've been harmed or some sort of damages, you can pretty much do this in every state as well. And that's what he's filing. And he's filing and asking for $230 million. 230 million tax dollars. So, all you drain the swamp people, all you people that were like, oh, we got to drain the swamp because they're just robbing us blind. The government's just robbing us blind. What do you say to this? What say you to this? What say you? Um, Also, it was suspicious until yesterday, an individual who made a $130 million donation to cover the salary for military members, through this government shutdown. This person, who the name was revealed today, but as of yesterday, had not been revealed, and they were trying to keep his name under wraps in the felons administration, the regime. But his banking heir, Timothy Mullen, donated $130 million to keep, I guess, the military paid somehow through the government shutdown. But here's the thing, there are 1.3 million service members. So you're looking about $100 per service member. So I don't know how that was supposed to keep them afloat. But what I do want to know is, what is Timothy Mullen getting out of this donation? Because this entire regime, this administration, they are transactional. It's all about what you're going to give him, what you're going to do for them. How are you going to break me off a piece of something, some money, some deal, some beach property in Gaza? What's in it for me? So I want to know what Timothy Mullen got for this $130,000. Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is, as of November 1st, we have just found out that many will lose their SNAP benefits as of November 1st. And let me tell y'all something. I've seen video after video of people, basically taunting those that are going to lose those SNAP benefits and saying, oh, go out there and get a job. And, all these things that we've heard, the same tired, racist, stereotypical things to say about people that receive SNAP benefits. I already shared with you that there was a period of time in my life where I received SNAP benefits. And all of you, there should be no shame in receiving the SNAP benefits, because it's your money. It's what they've taken out of your checks for years when you weren't receiving the SNAP benefits. Yeah, all that, it's your tax dollars. So when you're in a pickle, when you're in a situation, use the money you've already paid in. There should be no shame in that. But you have people putting together all these videos and trying to shame people, and you're not gonna be able to eat. I've already done another video, so look at that video where I asked the question, what is this country gonna look like when people believe that they have nothing to lose? When they lose everything, down to the ability to access food, what do you think this country is going to look like? What do you think your life is going to look like? Your day-to-day life is going to look like? You might be financially secure. You might still have your job. You might still have access to food, housing, keeping the heat on, whatever it is. You might have all of that, but you're going to have a lot of people who don't, and you will become their target. But the other thing I wanted to say about this is, the biggest welfare queen in this country, the individual who receives the most money from this government and government contracts, who has 11 children and counting, that we financially support with our tax dollars, because again, he has the largest amount of government contracts of anybody in the United States, is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the biggest welfare queen in this country. And you and I, and all you people making these dumbass videos, taunting people that they're going to lose their SNAP benefits, you're paying for Elon's kids. You're paying to take care of his children. The wealthiest man on earth, you are taking care of his children. you are paying to take care of his children just because of the multitude of government contracts that he receives. So now how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? That's it for this episode. That was a lot. There's a lot going on. I'll keep you updated to see if we can expand this lawsuit on the damage that has been done to the White House. It's not just the East Wing though. He got rid of the Rose Garden, looks like a putting range. He built some wall. Well, the wall was there, but when you walk that corridor that you always see the presidents walk down, he's put photos, framed photos in this cheesy gold, probably gold plated looking crap along that wall with these gold emblems above it. And my first thought was, these are outside. You got photos outside. The weather. Have you not thought of the rain, the snow, the damages that's going to occur to these photos being outside in the elements? Like nothing, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. But I'll keep you posted on that. What's going on in Venezuela? Last I heard, I read to you exactly his words. I'll keep you posted on that. But in the meantime, in between time, all my California folks, listen up. This administration is also threatening to send these monitors to polling locations in certain counties in California, Los Angeles County included. So please hear me when I say vote early. Avoid all that bullshit. I knew something was getting ready to happen. I felt it in my bones. I posted about this on Tuesday, and now they're having the conversation out loud. So vote early. Find a drop box, put it in the mail, but vote early. Get it done. Don't deal with all that bullshit. Okay? Prop 50, vote yes and vote early. I'll talk to you all soon.